Now children, a brief recap of what we had done, the causes of landform formation. So children, as you can see in this slide, there are three factors: plate tectonics, upliftment and submergence, and exogenic forces. I have already explained them to you. I am explaining once again. So plate tectonics, we have studied in the previous chapter that the Earth's crust is divided into a number of major and minor plates which are floating on the semi-molten asthenosphere. So the horizontal movement of these plates is very slow. The plates push, they collide, or they slide past each other. So this results in disturbance in the sedimentary rock deposits lying in between two or more plates. The sedimentary rocks are compressed. So this results in compression of the rocks, or folding of the rocks, resulting in the formation of fold mountains due to the orogenic forces. We've already done them. Then we have upliftment and submergence, which come under the category of epeirogenic forces. So due to upliftment, a part of the land rises up. Due to submergence, a part of the land sinks down. Next, we have the exogenic forces. The exogenic forces are the destructive forces. These forces include the work of the agents of weathering and the agents of erosion, like the running water, glaciers, the sea waves. So they act on the landforms, they cause wear and tear, they cause erosion of the landforms, and that is why they are referred to as the destructive forces. So now children, first we begin with the mountains. So whenever we talk about mountains, the immediate picture that comes to our mind is of a landform which has high altitude, it has steep slopes, and so we can say that a mountain is a steep land or hill rising to great heights above the land surrounding it. So children, there are three kinds of mountains, that is the fold mountains, the residual mountains, and the block mountains. So we'll be studying about each of these mountains in great detail. So first of all, the fold mountains, how they were formed. Again, it's a repetition of what we had done. So children, the fold mountains, they were formed due to the folding of the sedimentary rocks. So what happens, that it is believed that there were narrow, elongated, shallow seas or lake basins in which huge sediments were deposited. So here in this first picture you can see the rivers which brought a lot of sediments from the mountains and deposited them in the seabed. So the sedimentary deposits, they suffered compression. So here you can see the plate movement, two plates moving towards each other. Now compression into rock over here means that the sediments were laid down. Alright, and when we do the chapter of sedimentary rocks, that time you will study that when the sediments are laid down in layers and layers, then due to compression they get they get hardened into sedimentary rocks. So here you can see that the sediments which were laid down by the rivers for years and years, they got compressed, all right, into sedimentary rock. Then these sedimentary rocks, they were subjected to plate movement or compression. So as a result of this, the sedimentary rocks, they got folded to form the fold mountains. So children, this is how the Himalayas were formed. They were formed over millions of years on a marine basin called the Tethys Sea. So it is believed that the Indian plate moved towards the Eurasian plate. So the sediments of the Tethys Sea got folded to form the Himalayas. So now we are going to study about the characteristics of the fold mountains. So children, here again if you see, originally the rocks, they were laid out like this, but when they were subjected to compressive forces, meaning the two forces acting towards a common center, then the rocks, they got folded. Alright, so over here if you see the upfolds, they are called the anticlines, and the downfolds are called the synclines. So now see over here again, so see the anticlines, they form the mountains, and the synclines, they form the valleys. Now children, if you see in your textbook, you will see that the characteristics of the fold mountains are given. They form irregular wave-like formation called folds. Alright, then most of these mountains are constituted of the sedimentary rocks. Alright, then the fold mountains, if you visualize the map of India, you will see, you'll remember that the Himalayas have a greater length and a lesser width. So Himalayas, they have a length of about 2400 kilometers, but the width is comparatively low. Alright, now if you see this map over here, if you see this map shows the distribution of the fold mountains of the world in different parts. Here you can see the Rockies, then you can see the Andes in South America. Alright, here you can see the Himalayas. So most of the fold mountains except for Himalayas, they are found on the margins of the continent. So have a look over here. In case of North America, the Rockies, then you see South America over here. Alright, but if you see Himalayas, they are quite far away from the sea. Alright, fold mountains are associated with volcanic activity and have many active volcanoes. Here again children, Himalayas is an exception. Alright, then they have parallel ranges. You remember in class 9 we had, in class 8 we had studied about the 3 parallel ranges of Himalayas, the Himadri, the Himachal and the Shivalik. So this is how the fold mountains, they have parallel ranges. Now children, in your book you have a table that shows the difference between young and old fold mountains. So the young fold mountains, they are called young because they are of recent origin. The old mountains, they were formed many million years ago. Then the young fold mountains, they have higher altitude. They are higher than the old fold mountains. Most of the young fold mountains, they have pointed peaks, the Himalayas for example, whereas the old fold mountains, they do not have pointed peaks, they have rounded peaks. Alright, then the young fold mountains, they have steeper slopes and deeper valleys, whereas the old fold mountains, due to erosional activities of the exogenic forces, they have gentle slopes. Then we have the examples of the young fold mountains. They are the Himalayas, the Andes, the Rockies. They are some examples of the young fold mountains. The old fold mountains, they include the Aravalli, the Appalachian and the Ural mountain. Next we come to the residual mountains. Alright, so mountains which have been subjected to weathering and erosion for a long time, they are lowered down and they are referred to as residual or relict mountains. So due to the erosion by natural agents like winds, running water, glaciers, these mountains have been reduced in height. Now in your book also you can see the diagram, and here also you can see the diagram that originally this was the original surface, but when it was subjected to erosion, then the mountains got lowered in height. Alright, so they may also be formed on plateaus that have been dissected. Dissected means that they have been cut and eroded by the rivers. Alright, so they are also referred to as mountains of denudation. So most of the residual mountains are characterized by low elevation, both gentle slopes, and the examples of residual mountains are Nilgiri, Parasnath, Rajmahal Hills in India. Here you can see the picture of a residual mountain. So the softer rocks get removed, whereas the harder ones remain. Alright.